I would like to welcome JoAnne Rice, Director of the State Fire Marshal Office, to the stage for our keynote address. Thank you all.
Set this over here. Wow, I can't see a thing up here. Good morning. Good morning. I got a couple of notes, but mostly I just want to talk with you all. They've got me mic'd up so I can walk and I can get my Fitbit and get my steps in today, so we all need to be doing that. But what an amazing 10 years it has been, right? I can't thank the University of Miami enough for the work that they have done to meet this challenge, to come forward and say, we are going to be the ones fighting this disease with the fire service. It means so much. And I can tell you, I am completely honored, and what a privilege it is to be a part of that and to be a partner as we move forward, as we continue to fight cancer in the fire service. My name is JoAnne Rice. I am the director for the Florida Division of State Fire Marshal, and on behalf of CFO and State Fire Marshal Jimmy Petronas, I would like to welcome you to Florida, for those of you that are from out of state and out of the country, and for the rest of you from Florida, you're familiar with that name. Welcome to the Firefighter Cancer Symposium, to the 6th annual. That's probably going to be one of the last times I'm going to be able to say that, as the CFO Jimmy Petronas is going to be moving on into Congressional District 1. Obviously, there's going to be a vote, and that's happening April 1st, but he will be moving on and representing us in Washington, D.C., and he has been a tremendous, tremendous supporter of the fire service, not only in Florida, but across the country. So it's really great to know that we'll have an advocate in D.C. as he moves forward. So huge congratulations to him. Before I really get started, I want to let you know a little bit about me, or about the position. Everybody's, what is the director for the Division of State Fire Marshal? Because not many people really understand what that is. We have the CFO and the State Fire Marshal, who is the elected official, Jimmy Petronas, and he delegates that authority to the office of the director. As the director, I get to oversee the 47,000 firefighters in the state of Florida, and so what I feel is that that is my job. I'm the fire chief for the state of Florida. I'm the highest ranking firefighter in the state, and so that's a huge, huge privilege to be able to oversee the, like I said, over 47,000 firefighters in the state of Florida. And I take that very, very seriously. And throughout my career as a firefighter, I'm in the service for 35 years right now, I have dedicated myself to health and safety, and so it's really an honor to be able to be a part of this and to help to continue to fight the fight of health and safety and moving it forward. So a little more background. I'm going to talk about why I'm passionate about cancer in the fire service personally. 36 years ago this month, I got one of those phone calls that none of us want to get. I got a phone call that my mom called me and said, hey, I'm at George Washington Hospital, in Washington, D.C., and I've got a tumor. And me, as a young 24-year-old at the time, just finishing up college, I was like, wow, it was devastating. I didn't understand. And didn't say it was cancer. She said, I've got a tumor. So I jumped in my car, immediately headed to Washington, D.C. I was in South Carolina at the time. When I got there, they said, oh, it's not just a tumor, I've got lung cancer, and I'm having surgery tomorrow morning. And I know this is a story that many people have been through, but at a time in my life, it was hugely impactful. I was able to go live with my mom, help take care of her, be a part of her life, went through surgeries, went through radiation, went through chemotherapy. Unfortunately, 4 months later, she passed away at the age of 45. And I tell you that story because that's really what got me into the fire service, because at the time when I was with her, she said, oh, go be a doctor, finish. She went through college, move forward, continue to grow. And I said, I think I want to become a paramedic. And she said, no, please, be a doctor. Do more with your life. I said, but about a week before she passed, she looked at me and she said something really important that's lasted with me a long time. She said, if you want to be a paramedic, go be a paramedic. But the bottom line is, be happy in whatever you do. Be happy. So for the next year, that's what I did. I pursued becoming, not actually a paramedic. Someone said to me, if you become a firefighter, they'll put you through paramedic school. So I thought that was a great idea. But I came back down to Miami because I went to school down here and ended up, I couldn't get in down here, but I got into fire school down in Ocala, became a firefighter, got hired in the job that I was at for a little over 30 years. And that's my history in the fire service, but that's what got me here. Since then, as we all have, I've lost so many friends and family, so many firefighters that I worked with and that have been devastated from cancer. And in fact, in 2018, they were coming through Gainesville with Butch's helmet when my brother-in-law had passed away from cancer. Firefighter in Gainesville, firefighter in Reedy Creek. He had passed away, and they were there on the day of the funeral coming through. And so there's this connection. And I thought they came to the funeral. We were able to get together and do a ceremony at the fire station with them, and that was impactful. And it just kept having these things that were crossing my path. So I'm going to go back to my mom for a minute. So as I said, that was 1989 that she passed away. 6 years earlier, I graduated from high school. And she gave me a notebook, a little journal. And in that journal, she wrote a page in the front of it. Little did I know I was going to lose her 6 years later, but she wrote in the front of that page, and I'm going to say this to you twice because I've said it a couple times, and people said, well, they came up to me afterwards, what was that quote? And what she wrote in there was, knowledge is power, experience is the teacher in life, and you and only you control your destiny. Think about that. We hear knowledge is power a lot. And it's about coming to things like this and growing and learning. But experience is the teacher in life. That's why we get on the job. We do job training. We continue to grow and learn every single day. It can't be just a one-time, one-stop shop. We have to continue to grow and learn. And the last thing is you and only you control your destiny. And that's important. All of that is important. It has been my guiding principle in my life. And it's gotten me into the position where I am, but it's a way to apply it to health and safety. When we're talking about health and safety, talking about cancer mitigation, you and only you control your destiny. And we have things out there that are available to mitigate our risks. We know that being in the fire service, it is a risky profession. That's a given. We signed up for that. I think last year we talked, Eric Johnson was talking about his cancer, and he said, I signed up for that. I did not sign up for cancer. That's not what I signed up for. And the fact is today we have so many things that can help us to mitigate that, but yet we don't do it. We still think bunker gear, a dirty helmet is a badge of honor. We're doing better, but we still have a long way to go. And so what I ask each and every one of you, one, is to take control of your destiny and make sure that you are learning each and every day and that you are growing each and every day and that you take responsibility for yourself. And if you're a leader, which I believe leadership is at all levels in an organization, from a rookie firefighter to the chief officer, every one of those are leaders. And as leaders, you have to step up and lead. And leadership's not easy. Leadership's not easy. Sometimes it's making an unpopular decision, telling people they got to wash their gear. And I'm using that as a simple example, but it's setting the example, and it's holding people accountable, holding yourself accountable and holding your teams accountable. And I know that this group here, I am preaching to the choir. That's why you're here, right? This is part of what you do and what you advocate for. But we have so many things in place to help us mitigate that risk. And it is incumbent on us to do that. We've got to think about that every single day. And I hear it all the time. For firefighters, you know what? I can't be aggressive if I'm being safe. And I say that's BS. You can be aggressive and you can be safe. They are not uniquely synonymous. They're not two words that can't be said in the same sentence. Because we want to be firefighters. We want to do our job. But we have to know our job and do our job. And we have to grow in our job. And if we're not doing that, then we're falling behind. So I say what we have to do and what is our responsibility is to make sure that we take safety and make it a priority. and do what we can to build our resilience and to build everything we can to fight cancer, mitigate cancer. And quite frankly, if we're building resilience, it's fighting all disease. And we know that the health and safety of our firefighters is at risk all the time, right? It's not just cancer that we talk about. Nowadays, we're talking about PTSD. We're talking about mental health. We've seen so many suicides. Building resiliency helps fight disease, helps fight cancer, helps fight mental health issues, all those things. And by building resiliency, it helps to mitigate. And so I advocate for each one of you to find out what it is that you need, that you do to keep you more resilient. And for your crews, whatever that may be, we've got to take some time to step back to build resiliency. Some of that is, we're constantly busy, right? I'm holding up a fake phone right now. We're constantly busy, we're constantly connected, and we don't take time for ourselves. That's a huge part of what we need to do to build resiliency against disease, to help mitigate those things. And we don't always do it. We don't take the time. We're out there doing things for other people, and we're not doing things for ourselves. And if you're not taking care of yourself, it's really hard to take care of other people. If you're sick, it's just like going to a fire incident. If you get injured before you get to that incident because you didn't do a scene size up or you didn't take scene safety into account and you get injured, we can't help anybody. So we got to start up front, day one, making sure that we are capable of being resilient and taking care of our folks so that we can continue to take care of our communities and take care of our firefighters. I'm going to take a quick look at my notes. Come back here. Let's see what I'm missing. So another piece, I talked about being happy, right? And I think it's really important that we're happy in our jobs. Who enjoys being a firefighter? Who's a firefighter in the room? Do you enjoy it? Do you remember what it was like on day one? Do you remember when you started, that passion, that excitement that you had? We got to go back to that because sometimes we get caught up in things that bring us down. And this is part of resiliency, is being positive, not negative, is finding the things that make us happy because that gives us, that grows us, that makes us stronger individuals. But that day that we signed up for the job, if we can capture that and put it in a bottle and then have it when we're at 10 years or at 15 years or at 20 years, when we're having a bad day, and just take it out and say, okay, I need a little bit of shot of that passion. I need a little bit of shot of that excitement to keep me going. But we got to remember that in our heads, and we got to get back to that because that piece is so important to us. And we get sidetracked all the time with politics, with life, with other things. We are lucky to be a part of this profession. So I was at the Fallen Firefighter Memorial this year where we laid 13 firefighters to rest, which has been the lowest number we've had in quite a few years. But Danny Alvarez, Representative Alvarez, spoke at the memorial. And he started off his speech with, "You're not normal." And I tell you, at first I thought, I took offense. What do you mean I'm not normal? What are you talking about? And he started to talk about, it wasn't about that as firefighters we run into danger while everyone else is running out. He said, that's a piece of it. He goes, but you're not normal because you get to come to work every day to a job you love. And I thought that was pretty cool. And I've talked about that on several occasions, that we get to love what we do every single day. Think about that. Not everybody gets to do that. Whether you're on an assembly line, whether you're, I don't know, so many other jobs that are out there that people come to work and they're not enjoying it. So if you're not, I would tell you right here and now, if you're not enjoying what you're doing, if you're unhappy in the fire service, it's probably time for you to leave. And I don't mean that in a bad way, because it's a great profession and it's an opportunity for us to help people, to help ourselves. But there are people that are here and just aren't happy in the job. And I think that's not fair to them and it's not fair to the fire service because we owe more to it than that. Because our job is about public service. We signed up to be public servants, and I think too often we get caught up in what's in it for me. It's not about me. Some of the things I tell my team, when we did some strategic planning this last year, And we talked about what are we going to do for the Florida Fire Service? What are we doing outwardly? Because we want to make sure, as I said, as the fire chief for the state of Florida, I want to make sure I'm taking care of each and every one of you. That's my job. And so I believe I'm not here for me, I'm here for we, and we are here for them. That's what I told my team. Because we're here for the public, we're here for the firefighters, we're here for everybody outside of the organization. And that's what each one of your fire departments needs. They need a leader that is going to lead them so that they can take care of the people that are out in the field, that they're doing what they need to do to make sure their community is safe. So that's a passion of mine. So Danny Alvarez, he did a great job, been able to talk about it's not normal. We're not normal. So I've actually taken a little bit of ownership of that. I said, okay, I'm okay with I'm not normal. In fact, Dr. Caban sent me a picture last night with a bunch of sheep and a black sheep in the middle. And I was like, okay, I can deal with that. I don't remember what it said, but black sheep and a whole group of white sheep. We're different. We are different, and I think that's a good thing. That makes us part of who we are. Makes us part of who we are. And I know I'm talking to the firefighters in here, and I'm talking to you because I will go back to what I said initially. We have to take ownership of this. We have to take personal responsibility. I think I talked a little bit last year about every little bit we do along the way. I know we've made lots of movement in cancer mitigation and what we can do, cancer decontamination. And I've seen 20-year firefighters, it's too late for me, I'm not going to do that. I'm probably going to get cancer anyways. Well, I don't think anybody should accept that fate, and it's their job not to do that and to set the example for the younger people that come into the service. And so when we have things that are available to us, whether it's a green decon bucket or a decon unit, a full decon unit that comes to the scene with new gear and hoods, to a clean cab concept, we have a spectrum of things that are available to us to help mitigate cancer. And each one of those little pieces along the way, if maybe you use a decon wipe on scene, maybe it gives you a day. It adds a day to your life. If you use the decon bucket after a call, maybe that gives you a week. If you don't put your dirty gear back on the truck, maybe that gives you a month. And so I think it's all stepwise. It's not all or nothing. And I think that's where we get to sometimes. Well, we don't have that. Every little step along the way is going to make us better, right? I told you I'm wearing my Fitbit, trying to get steps in, so I'm walking back and forth. I'm getting some good steps in. Well, all that counts. Using the stairs, coming up instead of the elevator. It all adds up. And that's the same thing when we're trying to fight cancer. Everything we do reduces our risk. Do we mess up occasionally? Did you get done with the fire and you were so tired you got back to the station and, man, I just want to get in the chair. You're not getting back in your bed. Hopefully not get back in your bed with your as dirty, but you sit in the chair and fall asleep and you didn't get to take your shower within the hour just because you were exhausted. Well then, okay, you get up, you take your shower, and the next time you do better. But don't just write it off. We can't just write that piece off. That's a part of who we are and part of what we need to be doing to make sure we continue to keep ourselves safe. Go back to my list again. And I do have this is my University of Miami cancer notebook that I got from here. How many of you folks in here have suffered or are dealing with cancer? If you feel comfortable saying that, or shall I say, how many people have dealt with cancer, lost a family member to cancer, or currently have family members dealing with cancer, or a close friend? I guarantee. How many people? Raise your hands. That's a huge number. We are tremendously impacted by cancer. That's why we're here. I said, I know I'm speaking to the choir here, but hopefully it's some little tidbits that you can take back to your agencies to make sure that we continue to do what we need to do to fight this disease, that we can eradicate this, or as we say, extinguish it from the fire service. One of the statistics they talked about last year, and I'm sure we've got I usually get to speak on the second day, so I would like to fill in some of the things that I heard throughout the day or talk about that, but they put me up first this time, so I don't get to do that. So I'll have to talk about what happened last year. Now I forgot what I was going to say about last year. Anybody want to fill in? I completely lost that thought. Oh well, so we'll keep moving forward. I'm probably not going to use up all my time. I'm excited to be here. I think that we need to make sure that you take away everything you can from this. Take notes, get cards, get information. It doesn't do us any good if it stays in this room. Each one of you needs to go out and evangelize this. Cancer mitigation, resiliency. And I'm going to continue to push resiliency because that is about health and safety of the fire service. It's the umbrella. And that's the thing that keeps us safe overall. If we can become resilient, take some time for ourselves. I talked about phones, but whatever it is for you that you need for resiliency is what you need to do to take the time. I like to do, one of my things I like to do, I put my headphones in and put music on and just kind of check out for a little bit. Sometimes it includes some dancing, not really good dancing, but it does include some dancing. But that helps me when I'm having a bad day. And I guess that's part of that mindfulness, whatever you need to do to make you be able to keep moving forward in the day. But I love to go to the beach, love to go to the mountains. I've got property in Virginia, getting away. I will constantly tell people, make sure you're taking care of yourself and make sure you do what you need to do to mitigate your risk, whatever that may be, and help others to do it. And that's what I will leave you with, is challenging each and every one of you to be leaders. I said, you don't have to be the chief of a department to be a leader. You can be a brand new firefighter and be a leader. Because it starts with you. You and only you control your destiny. It starts with you as an individual. So take that challenge, go back to your departments, go back to your agencies, spread the word, and make sure everybody's doing what they need to do to continue to fight cancer. I remembered what I was going to say before. One of the statistics that came up last year was that while we are more at risk of being diagnosed with cancer and getting cancer, we are at a greater risk of surviving cancer. That's huge. And that's resiliency. That's us being more fit than the general population as a whole. And that's the trend we need to continue. We're probably, I wish we could completely extinguish cancer, but I don't know that that's going to happen. But if we can continue to get cancer and be survivors, that's huge. And so I'm looking forward to the rest of the conference and all the great things we're going to talk about. And I will just tell you, I don't know where Dr. Kobitz or Kaban or Sally and the rest of the team are, but they are absolutely amazing. And I am so grateful for their friendship, for their partnership, and for the amazing work that they have been doing to continue to put this at the forefront and to make sure that we do extinguish cancer in the fire service. To each and every one of you, like I said, I wish you a great conference. I'll be here. If I haven't met you, I'd love to meet you. It is important to me that I'm taking care of everyone in the fire service. That's my job, and maybe even if you're out of state. I love what I do, and if you don't know, I am passionate about my job, and I am happy. That is a number one key, is I am happy in what I do. And make sure you're doing that, and make sure you're checking back into that passion you had when you got started. And I'm going to say my mom's quote one more time because it's important to me, because when I stand up here and I get to talk about her, I get to keep her alive. I get to keep her in my heart. And I think we all have people like that, but it keeps her with me. And so knowledge is power. Experience is the teacher in life, and you and only you control your destiny. Thank you. Have a great conference.